Last week, I had a few people suggest that gold was a bad bet. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. I just wouldn't agree. I'd tell you that maybe a bad bet is going all in pre-flop with the 10-6, but sometimes that will even win you a hand. Ask me how I know. All-time high price for gold is $2,790. I think that's a pretty good place to start this. As I'm recording, the price of gold is $2,780. So just about there again, but we're not going to focus on the actual amount. We're just going to say gold is trading at 3-month highs right now. That's pretty good. It seems like only last week, though, we had some people saying gold was a bad bet. Now, why do I even give that kind of thing attention? Well, if a few people are saying it, then a few more are thinking it, so I think we should take a look. Now, we all know how bets work. Cards are all face up. The race of the game, whatever, is over, and you either win or you lose. Now, you have to pick a point in time that's already happened, so we're going to pick today, and to a certain extent, we're going to have to pick the end of 2024 because that's how some of the big data rolls in. Now, let me give you a spoiler. Gold has not been a bad bet. Now, before we get into the charts, let me tell you a few things about Summit Metals. The first, you probably already know. They have great prices on gold and silver. They're fast, and they're great people. Now, another that you might not know is that they're rolling out a peer-to-peer marketplace soon, too. So hit up summitmetals.com if you're looking to buy gold and silver, and sign up at goldsilverswap.com if you're looking for a whole new way to buy and sell soon. So let's start this out with a chart from long-term trends. We are looking at 6 years here from January 25th, 2019 to January 24th, 2025. So if you bet on the S&P, you're up 128%. If you bet on gold, you're up 113%. On silver, 100%. And if you bet on the Dow, 78%. So that's the best way to look at performance over time. We all know betting is about timing, though, which really, it's not what we're up to here. I'm not day trading gold personally, but if that's how you're thinking about this, these were still typically good bets, unless maybe you bought here and you sold here. So look, assets aren't the only things that have appreciated, though expenses have gone up as well. And this is where it gets interesting because it's easy to compare assets in terms of dollars as a static amount, but we have to consider inflation. And we also have to consider major expenses like homes and cars. In the United States, a family's largest asset category is their primary residence. Is that an asset or is that an expense? According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, CPI inflation is up 25% in the period of time we just looked at. So a bet on anything that appreciates 0% would seem even, but those dollars can buy 25% less. Now, 25%, that's going to be our marker for a good bet. And just as a reminder, gold is up 113% in that time frame. So let's visualize this. The red line is going to be our inflation number. It's 25%. So if you kept your cash stuffed in a mattress from the beginning of 2019 through the end of 2024, you effectively lost that amount. But if you made a bet on an asset like the S&P 500, like gold, like silver, like the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we can see they appreciated above that line, so you made a good bet. So if we were to stop there, we'd say that, yeah, gold did well. I don't think of it as a bet personally. I think of it as a risk-off asset like pretty much anyone else does. That means that it has a low risk, and you could also say a low reward as well. Now, we can see in the recent performance that it's had a pretty solid return, and it's actually the best performing asset class of 2024. So why is this even a question? Well, I think it's because of Bitcoin. I'll add a word about Bitcoin in a minute, but let's be real here. Risk off means that the asset carries a lower risk of capital loss, and Bitcoin and gold are very different there. Now, back to the chart that I just showed. If we think of a primary residence as a key to household wealth, like you'll hear it called, we can see that it has beaten inflation as well. And we can look at that three ways, really. One is, hey, congrats, you made money if you sell your home and then go and live in somebody's basement rent-free. 2, you keep the place, you feel good about it until property taxes are due. Or 3, you look at the increased costs associated with buying a new property if you didn't already have one. They're more expensive. Now, a house doesn't depreciate like, say, a new car, which will have definitely gotten more expensive over this time frame as well, but it's hard to consider those primary assets outside of a balance sheet. So this idea that gold is a bet, and if another asset outperforms it, then it's a bad bet, well, it's just wrong from the outset. Now, I felt confident making one-off bets on Bitcoin because I had all these other things in place. I wouldn't have done it otherwise. So I don't compare gold to an edge case performer, especially not one with as much risk as crypto. You ask me about my DeFi bets. Now, I compare gold to other savings models like cash, that would be the control, like high yield savings accounts, which have been very hit or miss, and then bonds. And look, I would add bonds to this chart, but they've been so sporadic that I don't even like to show them that way. 2022 was the worst year ever for US bonds. You go back 250 years, you can't find a worse year. So maybe we stop thinking of gold as a bet entirely. Like, I like it as savings. I've said that over and over. It has a history of staying ahead of inflation over the years. It has these other side effects too. There's no counterparty risk, and the simple endorphin hit you get from buying the stuff, well, it's a great replacement for buying that crap that nobody needs. Now, I know we've all done it. Now, a lot of the cash that I've put into gold over the years would have simply been wasted. So if you wanted that final call of whether it won or it lost, well, I think the data makes it pretty clear. The reality here, though, is that you don't have to go all in on any one asset, any one hand like you're sitting in the card room. If you think of it as savings, it's clearly been a winner. So let's call it good there. I picked this topic to push off the security topic, at least another week or so. I think this one was a little bit more straightforward. I did get my gold holdings split up, by the way. I have what you see on the desk here, and then just a little bit more close to the studio. I have the rest vaulted, at least temporarily. Nothing in my home, at least not until I can find a better solution and get a little bit of resolution on this situation. Just fun times. Keeping it lighter. Let us know what you think. Is gold a good bet? Bad bet? Let us know. And then while you're in the comments, be sure to hit that like button if you found any of this interesting. Be sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on if you want to hear more on the topic. And if you're still here, thanks again for watching. I always appreciate your time. Take care.